Welcome to another exciting edition of the $1 Million Peddlers. I'm Papergoy.
And I'm Mr. Magazine.
Anybody new to the channel, every Saturday we try to show you some BOLOs. Things, be on the lookout. Things that you might be able to find when you're out there, whether you're going to the estate sale, the church sale, the garage sale, or the antique show, or the comic show for that matter. As I see what you got up there.
Yeah.
Hopefully this will all help you. I get a lot of things from church sales and estate sales. The first few, you tend to get things from people that come on into you. So take it away.
All right. Well, you might not find this graded comic at an estate sale or a garage sale, but you might find the comic itself.
You might find it raw, and if it's in high grade, send it on out. What comic is it by chance?
Swamp Thing #1.
Oh, that's #1 from back then? Okay.
1972, yep. This is from my little comic score a while back. I got a couple hundred comics graded. This end up, I sold it for $350. Again, it's $50 raw, maybe even cheaper in VG condition, but it was high grade.
9.0, so yeah, that's
not too bad.
Not too bad overall.
Yeah.
What did you pay for grading on it?
About $50 ends up with shipping and all that jazz. Yeah.
So you got $60 into it, plus your fees, plus this, plus that. You still put $200 in your pocket anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't pay a lot for the comic per comic in the deal, so can't argue with that. All right, Garbage Pail Kid's still hot. Picked this up from a friend of mine. He actually had a collection of non-sport cards, and this was the best part of it. Original box with I think almost a box worth of cards. Ended up selling for $249.
All series 2?
All series 2, all high grade. Original box was clean. So
now, could you have made a set?
Oh man, I didn't try, but I don't think a complete set with A's and B's might be a little tough, but you never know.
Okay. Yeah. And you didn't list what the cards were or anything like that. It was just
just random.
350.
All
You're getting
series
what you're getting.
You're getting all series 2. Yep, exactly. Yep. With 315 cards, you would think you'd get a set or two of each, but I don't know how the breaks are with A and B's.
Right.
And I think I show these every week because we sell them every week. This one went for $200. So my average selling price on these has been $200 lately between eBay and Amazon.
So Thundercats #1.
A guy bought a couple from me at that price. I think he might have paid $400 or $300 for one of them. It was super high grade. And he said, "How many do you have? I want to buy them all." And believe it or not, I counted out 48 of them still. But he didn't want it. He only wanted to offer $50. I said, I'm selling them for $200 all day long. I think there's a movie coming out. I'm going to hold on to them.
Well, and in the interest of fairness, we've not talked about this before. You got a return.
I did get a return, yes. I'm getting more than usual returns with comics and cards lately, I think, for the whole grading thing going on. People are expecting to get these things and get 9/8 or get 10s in the cards. And I think they're buying them with that idea, and in their head when they get them, I may say near mint. Well, near mint could be 9.4, 9.2, or whatever the grade is in there, But they're hoping to get 9.6 or 9.8, and in their head they don't think they're going to get it, so they return the comic.
Yep, and that's something or other that we've talked about among ourselves in the past about a lot of times we end up undervaluing comics. You less so now because you're getting things graded.
Right.
But to me, whether it's VG, fine, in my head, I'm looking at a comic book going, okay, that's mid-grade condition this, and I probably undergrade when I put things up, which means I can pay less than people that will actually take it and strictly grade it and say, oh, it's fine to very fine. Well, I'm just calling it VG to fine because I don't want any problems, and it's not, I'm into it but because I'm paying so little, I can do that and leave money on the table by not grading as high as I could on things.
So I've been telling my employees in the past to always undergrade if anything, which they were doing. But now with this whole grading phase, if you undergrade by 1, you could be leaving 50 on the table. So I said, make sure you're grading them accurately. So if it does look near mint or mint, don't overgrade, but I want you to be accurate so it sells for what it should be selling for. Because if you just say, if we put VG on this and it's near mint, it would have sold for $100.
Right. Yep. No, and I agree, and that's why we've got that haul video up where I paid 20 cents or 10 cents a piece or whatever for the comics from the flea market.
Yeah.
I'm just calling them all VG.
Yeah.
You might be getting a very fine copy out of it, but I'm listing it on Amazon VG. I'm charging $8 for it, and could I get $22 out of it by calling it very fine?
Right.
Maybe. But I'm into it for 10 cents. I don't care.
Exactly. Yep.
Now, obviously, if it's a $400 comic, then it's a different story. Then I'll actually take the time. But if I get $8 out of it and I could have gotten 15, I don't care.
Right, exactly.
Because I paid nothing.
Sure, yeah. All right. Remco, Energized Superman, 13-inch. Pretty cool original box.
Can you go over it again? I just want to take a look at it. Oh, wow. I've never seen that. Wow.
Yeah. I actually sold this to a gentleman and...
Now, has that ever been off card?
No.
That doesn't look as ever.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very cool. But I sold this maybe a year ago, and overseas, never got to him. It got returned to me. I had to give him a refund, and I think he bought it back again because it was the same country that I sold it to originally.
Now let me ask a question. Maybe you don't know, but what did the Energized Superman do?
I think I had the Batman when I was young. I think there's it looks like he's plugged in because I did have one.
There's something down below green, like that green
Let's
thing.
see.
I don't know
Let's
what
look at the
heck it was.
instructions there. Hold on. Let's see here.
Oh, right.
Okay,
Like a battery in the back or
so
something?
he lifts up the kryptonite apparently, and it doesn't affect him.
Oh,
Because
wow.
that green thing looks like kryptonite.
It does. Oh, wow.
But I did have an Energized Batman. I think he had like a grappling hook where he would climb.
Go up and climb with it. Okay, very cool. Yeah, I've never seen those before. Very cool. And what did that go for?
125.
125. All right. So, and it actually does seem maybe even a little bit on the low side
Yeah.
for what it is.
Yeah, I agree.
But
The box
obviously,
is a little rough, but it's complete.
But you're obviously going to price with what comps are, et cetera, et
Exactly,
cetera.
yeah.
Neat.
All right, next up, sports cards. Oh, what do we got here?
You got to go down. Yep, there you are.
Jan Kolf rookie card.
Oh, nice.
Nice,
Jan.
Oh, Julius Erving and Magic Johnson.
You know, we're the only reselling show that highlights Jan.
But if you substitute Jan for Larry Bird, then the card would be $1,000. So
Very nice.
remember that. You could see these out there. These are not plentiful, but they're in circulation.
Let me ask a question to you. What is the Magic by itself separated worth? 50 bucks,
If I'm
40
guessing
bucks,
50,
20 bucks?
if I'm guessing 50, it's got to be 40, 50 bucks.
Because you can't, because
Yeah.
one thing on that year's cards, they were perforated, and you
Yeah.
could take the cards apart.
Yeah.
And I'm sure kids did take them apart and play with them. Luckily, that year, I was old enough that I wasn't screwing around with the cards. I was just collecting them to
Right,
collect
yeah.
them.
Yeah.
The other tough thing about that set is every player was on two different cards.
Yeah.
Every card was on two different. So that's why you've got the Jan Kolf / Magic and
Yeah.
the Larry Bird / Magic.
It's going to be hard to build a complete master set.
There is a master set, which I believe I did end up building back in the day because the cards were plentiful. I mean, they
Nice.
were cheap per pack, 25 cents a pack or something. You could
Cool,
buy
yeah.
them in closeout.
Sure.
So I think, I
You're
guess
up.
I'm up.
You are up.
I don't usually use the what do you call it, second chance offer. But I believe I'm going to make the second chance offer on this
Okay.
because I ended up with two of these. And I was going to put one in my collection because it's peripheral to my collection. However, I think I'd rather have 30 bucks in my pocket.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
NFL football schedule 1978. Now, here's the interesting thing about it. You recognize that as Roger Staubach.
Yes.
And you recognize on here Walter Payton.
Yeah.
But take a look. What is odd about that?
About Walter Payton?
No, about the picture and everything.
It looks like Leroy Neiman tried doing it.
Leroy Neiman is very, very young. Take a look at number 79. Who is that?
Harvey Martin?
Harvey Martin.
Why are they using his name?
Exactly. That was exactly what I thought about
He's the only
because
one they used his name with.
that they licensed this, I would expect, from the NFL, but they probably did not license it from the Players Association.
Right, yeah.
So they're allowed to put the logos on, but they're
Yeah.
not supposed to put names on.
Weird. Yeah.
Which is what I listed right down below. I said, look, Harvey Martin's name is on there.
Yeah, true.
But Peyton's isn't, Staubach's isn't, but that's who they obviously
Right,
are.
yeah.
So I got 30. I put it up at auction at $21. Figured I'll be happy getting 15 out of it. It went
Yeah.
for 33. I have a second one that was going to go in the collection. I'll offer it to the number 2 bidder, and if he
Nice.
wants it, great. And if not, it will go in the collection. Next thing over here is just kind of really an interesting little item. I had to do a whole bunch of research to figure out what it was. Pioneer Women's Forest Dorat Tree Planting Certificate, Brothamal, 1950s. Of course it is. And this is one of those cases that I picked this up from a house of an estate, at an estate sale, from somebody that was Jewish. And they had a lot of Jewish books, Hebrew books, all that sort of thing there. And these were there. And there were 2 or 3 different. Well, what ended up happening was, if you had a child born, you could donate some money to this Pilgrim Women's Forest, and they would plant a tree for you and give you a certificate that it was planted in the name of your child.
Nice.
Not very much about this out there. The only one of them I could find was actually in a Jewish museum. So I priced it out at $32. I think I took a $28 offer on it, and I have a second one. So if you're looking for one of these, Papergoy does have another one available. Only the name differs.
Are they still planting?
I have no idea.
Oh, where is this forest?
In Israel.
Okay.
It's over in
Right,
Israel,
gotcha.
yep. So it's one of those neat little items that you just come across and you do a bunch of research on it. And I finally figured out what it was. Probably put 10 minutes worth of research into it, but was able to sell it. So quite happy about that.
Nice.
Next thing we have over here, I usually don't list something like this because it's too recent. And then I get in my head the wisdom that you always give. It's 50 years old, which I tend to look at it, gee, it occurred during my lifetime. That's not old. But it is 50 years old. 1971, got $20 out of it. Drugs and Their Abuse, American National Red Cross booklet. You know, I never would have listed this in the old days. I just would have looked at it saying, it's something new, it's junky. And I guess part of that was because we started in the late 90s. At that point, it was only 20-some years old.
Right.
So it was fairly new, and you could find this kind of thing. This stuff's getting older. People are out there buying it. I don't know why they bought it. I don't know if they're a Red Cross collector, if they're a narcotics collector. I don't know what it is that they collect, but it did end up selling. Got to love the 1970s drugs, the way that the font and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to give you a quiz right now.
Okay.
Motel 6, a new motel concept brochure, 1965, America's great new motel chain. I'm going to give you a little backstory. Motel 6 started in 1962.
Okay.
Do you know where it got its name from?
No.
When it started, do you know what its concept was?
Nope.
Its great new motel chain concept?
Okay.
$6 rooms.
Oh, wow.
So that is where Motel 6 came from. You learned a little bit.
Back in 1962, huh?
Yep. $6 rooms.
By the day?
By the day.
Oh,
Not even by the hour.
Wow.
By the day. I dated it off of the number of locations they had because there was no date in there. So I went on and did a bunch of research, and their 21st location opened in 1965. Or 1966. So this would be a 1964-65 piece. So I priced it up at $28. Ended up getting that out of it, and was able to more or less roughly do it. Now, I've never done very well with motel things. I don't know how you've done with them, but not very well. Not as well as other people say they did. Right. This was Motel 6. I said, geez, is anybody going to buy it? People out there collect Motel 6.
Very cool.
And we are the only reselling show that gives you a history lesson on Motel 6 in this entire year. So tell all your friends.
You probably won't hear Motel 6 for the next year.
That is very true. Next thing over here is something or other. I didn't get a lot out of it, but I didn't pay a lot for it either. I actually got out of Heritage in a lot of things. And it's part of my pivot towards selling original art. Caveman, Club, Cavewoman, Rabbit, 1960s Cy Olson original art. How would you have described it? I mean, that was exactly how I described it. The caveman runs up to the cavewoman. She's all excited because this was back in the days where we were a little less politically correct.
Yeah, you can't.
She's going to get a date.
Can't show these cartoons anymore.
Oh, but not a date. He was just hungry.
Oh,
so still holds up after all these years. But Cy Olson, I think I paid $5 or $6 in a lot of Cy Olson things.
Yeah.
And this ended up selling. So quite happy with getting $39 out of it. Can't argue with that. And again, that's one of the tough things is how exactly you describe these kind of things. And the last thing we have for today, this is kind of an interesting item. I was at an estate sale with Random Neighborhood Kid. And there was a bunch of sheet music. And I don't usually deal in sheet music. And Random Neighborhood Kid said to me, is sheet music good? And I said, some of it. And he goes, well, what's good?
Don't you call it something else, not sheet?
This is a family show.
I can't remember what you call it.
Yes.
It's 4 letters. Similar. I don't know.
Piece of sheet music.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, perfect.
But so I'm going through it, and I'm seeing all the common ones. And I said to Random Neighborhood Kid, it's hard to tell what's good. It's just, you got to have a feel for it, and I still don't have it down. I ended up buying one piece of sheet music. Paid 50 cents for it.
All right. Wow. You said this was going to be good. Yeah.
Space Dog sheet music, Sputnik 2, Laika, 1958, Edna Robertson Moreland Space Race. We did show this on the post section of our YouTube. Do check that out. We do put one every day. We did do an Instagram. Do check that out. I ended up taking, I believe, a $125 offer on it, but I paid 50 cents. Very, very happy. I went and did search on it. Nothing came up with the picture. I mean, nothing against the artist. They got a commission. I didn't. But look at that artwork. It's not overly good artwork.
It's different.
Take a look at, Nordyke Music Corporation, not a well-known music corporation whatsoever. Did a little extra research, put down Sputnik 2, put down the name of the first dog in space, all that kind of thing. Sold overseas. The guy paid $20 shipping on it, and I got $120 out of it. Not bad for a 50-cent purchase on something or other that, like I said, it was the second day of the sale. Lots of people had gone through the sheet music already.
Yeah.
Nobody was interested in it. So if you see just an oddball piece of sheet music like this, let me ask you a quick question. If you were looking at sheet, would you have bought this? Would that be oddball enough to catch your eye, or would
I'd have to buy the whole pile, and then 12 years from now, when we're finally getting around to listing these,
you would have sold it out to me probably in the meantime.
If not, I would have probably picked this out to list, but 12 years from now, I would be doing it.
Right. Yep. So things like this are out there. 50 cents, second day of a sale. Go through the sheet music. And what I told Random Neighborhood Kid is I said a lot of times sheet music has other things in it. So do go through it. What else would sheet music possibly have in it?
Yep.
Music magazines, like those Charlton song title ones.
Right.
People put those in there.
Inside the sheet music? Usually
they're
like
mixed in.
Pieces.
They're mixed in, yeah.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Or programs.
Right.
A lot of times there'll be programs in there as well. And the guy's like, sheet music, whatever, they're 50 cents a piece today, whatever. You end up buying programs to rock concerts and things like that for 50 cents because
Playbills, probably, stuff like
playbills,
that.
all that kind of stuff, because nobody goes through the sheet music.
Right.
So when you're out today at the sales, go through the sheet music. And if you see this one, I got $120 out of it. Ask for the moon, ask for the moon, like what I did there.
There you go.
But it's oddball enough that, again, it did sell to a space collector. Oh, one other last thing. What category did I list that in? I'll give you a clue. It wasn't sheet music. The space category. Collectibles, historical space. Because I said, no sheet music collector knows that exists or cares about it. It's going to be somebody that's collecting, and I listed underneath the Russian space program section.
Yeah.
So definitely can sell things like this. You can find this out there because I found it. Good luck to you. Hit the like button. Tell us about all the great things that you found out there, and we will see you next video.
Hold on. 2 words of the day, Motel 6 and sheet music.
That is very true.
Take care. Bye-bye.
When you go to Motel 6, buy a bunch of sheet music at the flea market on the way there, and then when you're in the room, you can sort through the sheet music.
Perfect.
There you go. That's good use of your time. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button, and we will see you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.